Welcome to Confessions with Nikki G. I'm your host, Nikki G. I would like to begin by saying thank you to all my listeners, all the people that took time out of their busy day to come and just listen at what I want to speak about today. Today, my guest and I will be discussing cheating spouses. I don't think no one on this earth has ever been in a marriage, relationship, without one of the spouses stepping out at some point. And I have met individuals that's been married 50 years, 40 years. And they can tell you stories of how one of the spouses cheated at some point. So I'm not saying it's inevitable. You may be that fortunate person that will never have to experience that. But if you are not, this show is for you. By the end of this podcast, I hope you know what possible causes of cheating. There is no just one particular thing that causes a person to cheat. But we're going to give you some possible causes of cheating and whether you should forgive. But more importantly, should you forgive and move on? Or maybe a little bit of both? But with like the rest of my podcast, with this one, we're going to incorporate biblical principles when you're having to deal with a cheating spouse. Because it really can make a big difference in your decision-making process. Can't even talk today. Your decision-making process. With that being said, I want to introduce my guest, Calvin. How are you today, Mr. Calvin?
Oh, I'm blessed today. How you doing, Miss Nikki?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm going to tell you guys what I know about Calvin. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a hell of a chef. I know because I ate his food. That's part of these hips. And he is with the program Man Up. Of course, if you're looking at me on YouTube, you can see the shirt Man Up. Calvin, is there anything else you would like to tell our audience today about you?
Like Miss Nikki said, that we do have a program called Man Up. Man Up is it's not about your feelings. Man Up is about you manning up, being the man that God created you to be. Some people think Man Up is being strong and being hard. No, Man Up is that you man up. You can cry. A real man cries. You know, the Bible said that Jesus wept. So he wept over his friends. So it's okay for a man to cry. That's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength because you are strong in the Lord. But, you know, that's what the program is about. And we will be going online. Right now, the website is not up, having some problems, some technical difficulties. But the website will be up, and we'll be offering the mentorship program to help young men better their lives, better themselves. Excuse me. Reinvent themselves. And what I mean by reinvent themselves, establish what God intended their purpose to be here on earth. And realize that, you know, we are here with a purpose, and that's what Man Up is about.
When I said Man Up, I don't know about you guys, but I am a reality show person. I am so serious all day long. And this is my thought process. I'm serious all day long with work, doing the podcast. I'm speaking to people, you know, throughout the day. So when I get home, I want to give my brain a rest, if you say. So saying that to say, I was watching, I think, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Do you watch that, Calvin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this last episode was a perfect example of Man Up. There was a scene in there where the men got together,
right,
and they just spoke their feelings. And one of the men began to cry. I think it was Kurt.
Yep.
I might have the name wrong.
No, that's him. It was Kurt.
And he began to cry. And the other men were like, oh, we never seen him like that. That is what Man Up is for a group of men to get together and just tell their true feelings, but have their brothers uplift them in some shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah.
I thought that was the perfect example. So if you don't watch Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, I would advise you, if you want to know what Man Up is really about, go watch this last episode. It came on last week. And you will see that particular scene that I'm speaking of. I was so moved. I was crying myself like I was there with them. Because I've been talking about the pain of men for so long that us women never really thought about it. And that's sad to say. I never really thought about a man crying. Like I said in one of my previous episodes, the first time I seen a man cry, I thought something was wrong with him. But he was just perfectly normal. That's normal. But society will have you believe that it's abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
So I like what Calvin just said. That's a sign of strength, not weakness. That you're taking in your feelings. It's when we suppress those feelings that we create problems for ourselves. Eternal problems that come out dysfunctional.
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right.
Okay, so today's topic is cheating spouses. Now, I've done 2 other podcasts. I call them Entanglements Revealed. But the difference between those podcasts and the one we're doing today, we're going to incorporate these biblical principles. I feel it's very important. When I went through my journey with a cheating spouse, the Bible was really all I had to turn to. I could talk to people and they could tell me things, but it really didn't apply to my situation. It was nice to hear, but it really didn't apply to my situation. So it kind of left me in turmoil. Then you meet a group of people that will tell you quickly, and I'm speaking from my standpoint, oh, girl, he cheated on you. Go cheat on him. That's how you get him back. You see, it's those train of thoughts that get us in a whirlwind of trouble. You know, so you want to try to intertwine yourself with people with wisdom, knowledge. Now, what we talk about today, it may help you, it may not. And I will say once again, I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just a woman that has been on a life's journey that I am choosing to share with you. I'm choosing to share my journey with you and also the steps I took to become whole again. Now, do I crumble? Yes. All the time. Just this week has been a trying week for me. I have had so many distractions, so many different things coming my way to try to deter me in God's purpose in my life. But I'm going to tell you something. When God gives you an assignment, I've said this 100 times. When God gives you an assignment, you better fall in line and stick to your assignment. Your fortune, your wealth, everything is tied to that purpose. Saying that to say, I have people that with this podcast, they'll come to me and say, well, Nikki, how much money you make? Okay, we're not on the same page or the same book. Then you got another set of people to say, well, girl, why are you talking about that? Not on the same page, not on the same book. But it was just this one individual for me this week. It was a young lady. I had told her about my podcast. She said, I'm going to listen. She came up to me in tears. She said, Nikki, she said, I enjoy your podcast. She said, a lot of that stuff you was talking about, I didn't know. But I have 3 daughters that I now can pass that information on to my daughters. I got chills just now me saying it. She said, I got that information now. I can pass it to my daughters. That's the purpose of this podcast. That's God's purpose in my life, to help others. So just that one person out of them hundreds of people that was throwing rocks my way, it was that one woman that moved me. God sent her that way to encourage me to keep doing what I'm doing. Now I done digressed off into something. I'm trying to give you some motivation to get up and move. If God is telling you to move and do something, I need you to get up right now and move, and let's get it together. He done already gave you the steps you need to take, the things you need to do. The people are already in place. They just waiting for you. So when are you going to get up? Now back to these cheating spouses.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good. You're on course.
Back to these cheating spouses. Okay, this is confessions. So I'm going to tell you the story about my cheating spouse and what I had to go through. My spouse cheated on me, and he blamed me working all the time. He said, you always at work. The communication there was tore up because at the end of the day, what he was really communicating to me was, you're not paying me any attention. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying that, it was, oh, you work too much, so I did this. So I took that as an insult that maybe I need to stop working so much. That wasn't the case. He just wanted attention.
Mm-hmm.
He cheated on me. He did several things, but it was just a spiraling downhill from there because I didn't have any knowledge of that. So with that being said, we wind up splitting up and everything. Years later, of course, now he'll come back and tell me, yeah, you're right. But it's important that when you get married or you get in a relationship, that you understand that things are going to happen. How you deal with those things is a deal breaker in your relationships. Mm-hmm. That's with your spouse, with your kids, your family, whomever you come in contact with. But when you're dealing with a cheating spouse, that is a hard pill to swallow, especially when you've been faithful and you faithful, loyal, you've been doing everything you're supposed to do, and I'm speaking from the woman's standpoint. You've been doing everything you feel you're supposed to do as a woman, and this individual still chooses to go out here and meet somebody else. For me, I question my value. I question, I don't look a certain way. Maybe I need to look this way. You go through all of that. But for me, it was this last marriage of mine that really knocked me all the way down and made me build myself brick by brick all over again. Because I got tired of getting knocked down. And I'm pretty sure it's several people out there right now, you're tired of getting knocked down. So I'm hoping by the end of this podcast that these steps will help you either make a decision that you can stay with your spouse, or maybe you want to split from your spouse. I don't know. But either way, you'll have this knowledge. So, Calvin, what do you think about cheating spouses?
Well, it's a whole lot. Let me unpack it. It's a suitcase. So let me unpack it. Cheating ways. Cheating ways just don't come overnight. Cheating ways is something that you have been doing for years. You've been cheating. You started cheating before you got married. You was cheating, having other relationships while you were dating, while you was courting. So there's not a perfect relationship. Your relationship comes from communication. You have to find out really about why that spouse cheated. And then after you find out why that spouse cheated, that spouse have to have ownership that they did that. They have to own up to it. They can't lie about it. They have to own up to it. Then the step of forgiveness. So, we have to all put them principles in there. Number one, most relationships, most spouses cheat because they get comfortable in their relationships. And what I mean by that, we're talking about infidelity. Okay, let me go back. When you have infidelity in a marriage, that means that spouse has been unfaithful to the other spouse. But when you took your vows, you're just not being unfaithful to that spouse. When you are married and you are union together, you are committing adultery. And when you commit adultery to that spouse, you are committing adultery to the vows that you took, and you're committing adultery against God. So that's something that two people should learn when they go through their counseling before they get married about adultery. What is adulterous act? Adulterous act is not always physical. And we're going to get to them parts later on. But when a spouse cheats or go outside the marriage, he is lacking something that he's not getting at home or she's not getting at home. And Nikki said something very important. He wasn't getting the attention. We have a lackadaisical approach to marriage because, like you say, we get comfortable in that marriage. We get comfortable him doing this or she doing this, and we take that person for granted then. Oh, they're going to always do that. They're going to always be here, and they're going to blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. But then that person just wants some affection, some attention that he was given or she was given. Now they want that back. And yes, I've been cheated on and I've been married 3 times.
So let's back up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rein all that in. That's a lot at one time.
It's a whole lot.
So first, Calvin gave us a definition of possible causes of cheating, which we're going to get to that in a minute. But first, I would like to read Proverbs 6 and 32. But the man who commits adultery is an utter fool, for he destroys himself. Hebrews 13 and 4. Give honor to marriage and remain faithful to one another in marriage. God will surely judge people who are immoral and those who commit adultery. Exodus 20:14 says, you must not commit adultery. Now, let's go back to individuals that's married. That's why I agree with Calvin when he said you should seek counseling before you get married so that you can understand the institution of marriage. It's more to being married than just you signing a marriage license and you guys going home saying, I'm husband, I'm wife. It's work. Lots and lots of work. And if the both of you are not agreeing to do the work, I'm sorry, you're probably going to wind up in divorce, or that person going to wind up cheating. It's going to be some kind of problem. In my opinion, that marriage license is a contract. That contract is with whatever state you in, saying that you're going to, it's just like for financial purposes, basically, legal purposes, if y'all decide to split. So that is just a contract. But your bond that you do before God, that's the one you should be surely worried about. Because when you get married, that's a bond that you and your spouse is making with God. I don't want to say contract, but that's what you're doing before God.
When you break your contract, there's penalties, right? When you have you sign, buy a car, buy furniture, whatever you buy now, it's a contract that has to be signed. And they always say, read the fine print. See, we don't read the fine print. And the fine print is in Scripture. Like Nikki said, Miss Nikki G said at the beginning of the podcast, that we're not licensed therapists. But, I am an ordained minister. And I was reading, and something that I found out that really shocked me. And the reason why I say it shocked me, because a lot of people don't realize that it's not always physical adultery.
Yeah, I read that too.
It's mental adultery.
Lust.
It's your thought process. I use the analogy, have you ever been to a restaurant and you got a menu in front of you? You look at everything on the menu, but you don't buy everything. When we're out in the world, we look at everything out in the world. We might not buy it, but if we lust in our hearts, and I'm going to read that scripture to you, if you lust in your heart, you have already committed adultery. So it's not the physical, it's your thoughts. And I'm going to read that to you right quick, because I don't want you to think I'm making it up.
Yeah, I read that too.
Matthew 5 and 27. It says, but I am saying to you, that's Jesus talking, everyone who lusted after a woman, and everyone who looks at a woman, so as to lust for her, immediately commits adultery with her in his heart. Immediately, right there on the spot. When you look at a female or you look at a male, and that thought process go to your mind, when you say you have committed adultery already. When you say that, yeah. Because when you say, your thought process had already figured out what you want to do, or what it would be like, or what it looked like. So you have already committed adultery in your heart. Now,
Yes,
I'm going to back up. Now, when Miss Nikki read Proverbs 6 and 32, it says, but whoso committed adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyed his own soul. Now, that understanding means heart. It's Hebrew, lacketh heart. Your heart. The issues of life is in the heart. Your heart thought that. Your heart and your mind 24 inches away. So what you think goes to the heart. Then you act out. So right there you have committed. So that's a thought process. That's mental adultery. So you have cheated on your spouse. Even though you didn't physically do anything, but that's adultery. Now, when you defile the bedroom, that means you defile the bed, that means that you have slept with another woman. And the reason why when you sleep with another woman, even though that woman stays at her house, but you slept with her, so you bring her back home with you. Now she's in bed with you and your wife.
Soul tie.
Yeah. That's why he said you destroyed your own soul. You destroyed your own soul. And see, that's the part of infidelity. Infidelity comes from the word infidel. Infidel means unbeliever. That's what infidel means. But now you have infidelity. That means that the action or state of being unfaithful to a spouse or other sexual partner. Unfaithful.
Okay. So let me break this down to people like myself. And I'm speaking from a woman's standpoint. Calvin's here, he's speaking from the male standpoint. I got to throw in some real life with it. Mm-hmm. We can throw out these scriptures all day long, but for me, I got to put some real life with it. Okay, so you're married. I'm speaking from like in my case. I'm married. My husband go out and he go have sex with this woman. He didn't already had the thought process. He didn't already committed adultery, but he just went on a step further to make it a physical sense by having sex with this person. Now he has sex with this person. Now their souls are tied. And then their souls are tied together. Then he bring that same soul into our home. And that's where the chaos and the bumping of the souls get together. That's the problem.
Because he bringing home something that you don't do, but she do it. So now he comes home wanting you to do what she do. So that's where the friction come in at. So he gonna continue to go outside, see, but instead he should have had a conversation with you.
Okay, so back up. So that is, now we're talking about the causes. So I chose 3 causes. Of course, there's no box to cheating. Like I said, there's no one answer why people cheat. Everybody has their own reason, their own lives. But for me, I chose these 3 because this is what I experienced in my personal life. The first one was somebody's needs are not being met. Somewhere in that marriage, just as Calvin said, somebody's needs are not being met. So that individual chooses to go on the outside of the marriage to get those needs met. And why do you think that is? Lack of communication? That's the second one. But let's go back to the needs not being met. I never quite understood why is it that an individual can't even tell you that, you're not satisfying me. This, like my ex. He could have simply walked up to me and said, you know what? I need attention right now. Do you think you can take off and spend time with me today? I would have been like, okay. He didn't do that.
Because they feel, men, I'm going to put it like that. Like I say, go both ways, but I'm put it from a man perspective. Men are not simple when it comes to sex. I'm going to put it like that. Young boys grow up looking at their brothers' Playboy magazines and everything, looking at Uncle magazine, Hustlers and all that stuff there. So we imagining these thoughts in our head. But see, not realizing that them are just pictures. Now we're talking to a real live human being, not knowing what her sexuality is for as relationship, we'll put it like that. So we think that every woman know what we want, but they don't. Because we don't ask that question. But see, men have to, like you said, come out that box And when you having a grown-up conversation, you put say, okay, this what I like, this what I like, this what I like. Now, the woman should be woman enough to say, well, I don't do this, I don't do this, I don't do this. That's a communication. It don't matter. Your feelings get hurt, they just get hurt. But you know the boundaries when it comes to sexuality. That's before marriage. Because now you married, like I said, now you got soul ties, you married, and she said, I don't do that there. Now you mad. So now you looking for someone else to satisfy that need because that want in the marriage is not there.
Now let me say this. When I said someone's needs are not being met, it's not per se always sexual.
Right. But that's the leading cause, though.
It's not. I'm putting it out there because it's not always sexual. Like for my ex, he said he just wanted my attention. He wanted that one-on-one time
Right.
that I wasn't able to give.
Right.
He might have wanted sex too because I was tired. But that goes back to dating. That goes back to the dating and getting information about that person before you marry them. So you'll kind of know what it is that they're like, what they like and they don't like. And if you're able to combine together.
See, like just for me, I like going to the movies. I like doing things, holding hands, going to the park. Simple stuff like that. That's me. I was in a relationship years. And it wasn't about the sex with me, but it was with her. And that was a twist for me because I just wanted you around me. I want to sit down and watch a movie, watch TV. But it was bump and grind. Mm-hmm. And like you said, sometimes you tired. You work a 12-hour shift. You tired. I'm sorry, But that was the cause of it because I wasn't giving her that sexual attention that she longed for.
And once again, I will say, going into these relationships, you have to be mindful of what you need and not what you want. Mm-hmm. Because you see, I'm going to use Calvin's relationship. That person got into the relationship and discovered that Calvin couldn't give her what she needed. And vice versa. The lady couldn't give Calvin what he needed. So it's very important that you make a distinction between what you want and what you need before you get married, because if that individual can't give you what you need at some point, you guys going to bump heads. Mm-hmm. Because your needs are not being met. And then what happens? You go outside, but you can save yourself a whole lot of misery and pain by addressing these issues before you get into a relationship, before you get married. Before you get married, for sure. The next one I wrote down was a lack of communication. A lack of communication skills. Just as I said, if my ex would have came to me and said, Nikki, just simple, but like Calvin said, everybody don't think like that. Nikki, I'm starving over here. That's my lingo. I'm starving over here. You're leaving me hanging. I need some of your attention. I need some of your time. And if he would have said, okay, I would have said, okay, let me, maybe I'll miss work or whatever I had to do to give him what he needed. Right. That's who I am as a woman. If you tell me you need something, I'm going to move hell and high water to make sure you get what you need. But I expect the same thing in return.
Mm-hmm. It go both ways.
But you have to be able to communicate in a marriage. And if you experience infidelity, one thing I have learned from couples that's been together for 20 plus years is that you have to be honest with yourself about your part. Mm-hmm. Your partner got to be honest with themselves about their part. And then y'all got to be honest with each other.
Yeah. That's the key thing, is to be honest with each other, forgive, because God wants us to forgive each other just like he forgave us. And I ran across an incident like that with me, and I like, God, I'm ready to go. So I can't do it. I'm ready to go. God said, hold up. You reap what you sow. So I had to understand what God was dealing with me about, and allowed me to stay there. I was ready to pack up and everything. I don't care. I'm ready to go. You did this. God said, you did it before. So what's the difference? You got to forgive. You got to forgive because you have done it. That's why God blessed me with the ministry, cast the first stone. If you have not sinned, cast the first stone. So I can't cast no stone. I had to forgive. But it taught me a process of forgiving, a process of giving and loving and keep it moving. See, you have to keep it moving. You can't sit there and every time something happens, you bring up. Well, you remember you did this. You remember you did that. God said, do I bring up every dirty detail that you did? So we have to realize that. Now, if you cannot forgive, then you need to move on. Because that's going to ruin the relationship even further than what it is because you cannot forgive. So just let it go and keep it moving. Learn from the mistake. As my grandma would say, chalk it up as a loss, son. And keep it moving. Learn from it. You have to learn from it. So, yeah, you hurt. They say men don't hurt. Yes, men do. Men hurt. Men have to admit that we hurt when infidelity come into the relationship. Yes, we're hurt. Is our ego hurt? Yes. Because now you're trying to figure out what he's doing or what she's doing that you wasn't doing. It could have been that you just weren't paying attention to her. It can be that you just didn't help her around the house when things to be done. It can be anything. Yeah, you have to have commitment. Babe, what you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Because number one, when a woman comes home from work or a man comes home from work and they still got to do chores, there's no physical attraction. It's a need. You help me, I'm going to help you. Then we can meet in the middle and we can sit down and watch TV together. Mm-hmm. See? So I'm tired. I do understand. You want me to watch TV with you? No, I'm ready to go to bed. Mm-hmm. So it have to be a 50-50 situation. It have to be a 50-50 in order for most relationships to work. You got to come to a common ground, date nights, have a book planner. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do this here, and we're going to do that there. Okay, you got to do this here. And that's what me and my wife do. We make our plans out. Mm-hmm. When we're going to do it, where you going, where I'm going. It's not keeping track with each other. It's just saying, okay, my wife got to work this night. I got this here. I had to come to the podcast today. So she got to go do that today. So now we say, okay, what day we got open? Mm-hmm. It might be Friday. It might be Saturday. It might be Sunday. But whatever day we have open, that's that date that we meet. Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. Everything we got to do and just love on each other, ask each other how the week went and blah, blah, blah. And we take care of everything right then and there.
If you address just these three things, I feel like, I know it will help your relationship. Because I just want you to critically think about that. You're in a relationship with somebody, your needs being met, their needs being met. When your needs are being met, you're going to run to go home. You want to be around that person because your needs are being met. Mm-hmm. You guys have a healthy communication going. Mm-hmm. That's a healthy relationship. And then you incorporate those biblical principles in your relationship as well. Who gonna want to leave that? Who would want to leave that?
Nobody healthy.
There you go. Nobody healthy. But learning communication skills is very important. In communication, there's a sender and a receiver. The important thing to remember is if you're sending information, you have to think about, is that person ready to receive your message? Sometimes it's not what you're saying, it's your delivery. And are they ready to receive it? Because if they're not ready to receive that message, it's going to go in one ear out the other. And you guys are going to be steadily bumping heads. So sometimes, you just got to sit down and think about that person's communication style and your communication style. But that does lead to cheating when you're not communicating. One spouse needs not being met. You guys are steady, bickering with each other. But this is the trick part. You go out on the outside. Mm-hmm. And I got this from some movie I watched. I don't know. You go on the outside and you meet this person and it's crazy. But that you can communicate to that person what you should have been communicating to your spouse. Mm-hmm. This is what I don't get. You go meet a perfect stranger and go communicate to this person all the problems in your home and why you about to leave your spouse and blah, 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 blah. And you guys form a bond. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, you physically involved with this person, or like Calvin said, you lusting in the heart for this person. not realizing that you have a whole spouse at home, that if you would have just told that spouse what was bothering you, you probably could have fixed it.
See, but most of the time, that's because they see somebody who don't know them.
But why is it easier for them to talk to somebody they don't know versus their own spouse? That I don't understand. Or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you want to say.
Well, one time it was said to me, I get better conversation outside of the home. So I said, okay, you're right. And I get better conversation outside of the home. What you mean? Same thing you mean. You said you get better, I get better conversation too, so that's why we don't communicate. So now she wanted to know who you talking to. See? Mm-hmm. No, if my conversation ain't good for you, I got somebody who's talking to me. So when I come home, all I want to do is eat and go to sleep.
But why is it that some of us, I'm not going to say everybody, some of us, I've been in the club or at a restaurant, because I'm good to sit up at a bar at a restaurant, I don't care. And some male will come to me and tell me everything that his wife isn't doing.
Because she don't want to listen. She don't want to hear.
That's the first, that was off to say, oh, she don't listen to me.
See, she don't want to listen. Or he don't want to listen. Because it's the same thing. How can I say it? Because we hear it. I'm just saying for my son, because we hear it. And we as men, we try to fix it. We got a little tool belt. We try to screwdriver everything. Okay, I'm going to fix that, I'm going to fix that. But that's not what she wants. She don't want us to fix it. She just wants to hear it. But even though when we hear, it's still not fixing. So some people already have it up in their mind. See, how my mama said, baby, you been left your marriage.
Yeah.
Your mind
your body's
been
here with me, but your mind is on the other side of town. Well, my mom used to play that. I'm like, oh, I understand it now, but when I was younger, I didn't. Yeah. So you're right. You're mentally left. And they said women will do that quicker. Once a woman leave you mentally, emotionally, the relationship is over.
Because you can tell. You can tell. Really, you can. If you pay attention, men and women, if you pay attention to your spouse, you can tell because he or she put that special cologne on or perfume on for somebody else, but don't wear it for you. They put that special dress on for someone else, but they don't put it on for you.
You know what my ex told me, and it was something not even what Calvin saying. It is true what he's saying when they begin to change and all that. He walked in the room one day, which I wasn't cheating. I was just sick of his ass. But anyway, he told me, he said, you don't love me anymore. And I said, yes, I do. Why you say that? He said, because you don't look at me the way you used to. I was already gone, but I wasn't, involved with anybody. But mentally, I was like, I got to get out of this relationship. But he was being attentive to me, and he knew it. And that messed me up. I couldn't even say anything because it was true. But I never thought about it that way.
But see, I call that the death factor. You dead. Because it starts with the mental. The wages of sin is death. That's in Romans 6:23 when you look at it. When you commit a sin of adultery, you die slowly. It's going to be mentally. Your relationship dies. The wife don't have a yearning for you no more. You don't have a yearning for the wife no more. Either way it go, because there's have been defilement in the bedroom. And that's why they call it the bedroom, because that's where you meet up at. It's death. You may lose your job. I'm talking about the cheating spouse.
Lose your job.
You may lose your job. Now you lost your job.
Car.
Now you lost your car. You done lost your wife. You done lost your house.
Woo, preach, brother.
That's the wages of sin. Whatever you do, you get paid for what you do, right? When you go to work and you punch that time clock, think about that. Every time you go see that other person, woman or man, you punching a clock. Mm-hmm. You are going to get paid for what you are doing. The wages of sin is death. You're going to die a slow death financially, physically,
Yep.
mentally,
Yep.
and you're going to be out of there. And you're going, woe is me. No, you did that to yourself
Yep.
because you committed a sin that God is very serious about. When he say commit adultery to another spouse, it's there. You read it, Romans 6:23, read it, and let God marinate your mind with that. You will die a slow death. I committed adultery way back then. And God asked me one question. He asked me, are you ready to change? I was tired of what I was seeing. I was tired of losing everything. I was tired of being by myself. I was tired. And God really had to wake me up to put me in a relationship now that I've been married for 21 years. Because the ways I used to live by, I don't live by them ways no more. Because the Bible is true. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to preach to nobody, but the Bible is true. The wages of sin are death. You will die sooner or later.
And I just had this conversation with, my ex. You lost your job. You lost your house. You done lost your vehicle. You're losing your mind.
Yeah, that's next.
And I said, baby, I'm blessed. I done fought through cancer. God bless me. I'm still here. I still got my job. They just gave me a promotion and a raise.
See that?
So so who was really doing what? You, on the other hand, need to get yourself together. I'm okay. We're not together, period. But I'm seeing when God said he'll make your enemies your footstool, I saw it through him. So I'm a living witness to that too. I didn't believe. I was like, woo, God whooping you. I'm thinking in my mind as then you got to come back to me and tell me all these things is happening to you. Yeah, what did you think was going to happen? And another thing I don't get about with cheating spouses is the people that they cheat with think that person is going to be good to them or is going to treat them in a manner that they want to be treated. What did you think was going to happen? You got with a married person. Sure. I don't care if they tell you I'm divorced. You know that person is married. You can tell. You know. Some of us might not know, but at some point you're going to figure it out. So why did you think that man was going to, he done left his wife, left his family to come move over with you and haven't even broken the ties from his wife yet. So once again, my soul ties or whoever's soul ties is going over there with you. So why you thought that was going to work? I don't understand it. Why do you thought he was going to treat you different because he's over there lying on one spouse lying on the next? It's just, the institution of marriage is so complicated. But when God is in place, he in place. You better keep him.
See, and I'm gonna say this here. Then I'm gonna let Miss Nikki do what she do. Matthew 5:27. See, what y'all not realizing that when you do commit I call them crimes. When you do commit these crimes, God do arrest you. See, and he give us instructions because it's true. And see, if you read your Bible, just accidentally read it one day, you'll find yourself in the Bible.
Don't accident, pick it up and read it.
In Matthew 5:27, it says, if a man is found lying with another man's wife, both the man who slept with her and the woman must die. The woman and the man must die. You must purge the evil from Israel. That means from the people. Y'all are glad. Y'all better be glad we're not living back in them days. It's if the man had permission to kill you in her or you in him. If he caught you lying in the bed with his wife.
You guys didn't hear it from me, but in the state of Texas, there is a law. I forgot what it's called. Crime of passion or something.
That's it. Crime of passion.
So if you come home and find your spouse.
That's crime of passion.
Laws of the world come straight from where? The Bible. So all you people that say you don't read the Bible, you following the laws of the Bible anyway. So why not just go ahead and incorporate it in your daily life? Where do you think they get the laws from?
Exactly.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not kill.
Evil.
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
That's the law of the land. The Bible is the law of the land.
It's the law. That's what they make you swear on when you go to court.
But I don't go to church. I don't read no Bible. Okay. Now, in order to be in a relationship, I feel like another problem is, or a marriage, is we don't know how to love. We don't know how to love. And like I said before, everybody's idea of love is different. So I wanted to find out in the Bible, does it give you a roadmap on how you should love?
It do.
And what I found was this one. It says, put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience, bearing one another. And if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other as the Lord has forgiven you. So you also must forgive. If you were to incorporate that in your relationship, forgiving each other, that doesn't mean that that person keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's why it's important to be with a person that you're equally yoked with, because then they're going to understand that, hey, they can't do that. I'm forgiving you, but you don't do that again. You know what I'm saying? But when you're unequally yoked, it doesn't work. That is a believer with an unbeliever. That's when I say unequally yoked. That's what I mean. But if you follow that roadmap of loving someone, how could you go wrong?
Especially if you're married. Especially if you're married.
If you're married, yeah.
And they tell you that they said, we are to love our spouses like Christ loved the church. Christ loved the church that sins against him daily. We go to bed sinning against God. We wake up sinning against God because we are sinful nature. And he said, love your wife as Christ has loved the church. That means no matter what she do, we have to love her. We have to forgive her because God forgive us. We can act all holy. We can act like we never done anything in our life, but God knows. He know what we done. We know what we've done. So why, like you said, we're supposed to be gentle, kind, loving, bearing one another. See, but we don't do that. We down one another. We down them, call them this, call them that. That's not Christ-like. And we say, what would Christ do? What will Christ do if we see you acting like that? See, we use that slogan, but we're not practicing it. And so we're supposed to love. So, and you can love a person, like my mama say, love them from afar. Because if you're going to keep doing the same thing to me, then that's where we got to draw that line.
Boundary.
It got to be a boundary. No, because I forgave you. You back in the home, but you did it again. So now that's the part I got to let you go. I still love you, but I got to let you go.
And one thing you should remember about forgiveness is that it's not all in you forgiving your spouse. It's about you. It's really about you, so you can let go of those feelings or whatever you had towards that individual. I don't care who it is. Forgiveness is really about you.
Yeah.
That person is responsible for their own forgiveness of themselves. So if they haven't forgiven themselves, trust me, you just fighting the wall. So that's where it's best that you learn the definition of forgiveness and how you're supposed to do that correctly.
You're supposed to forgive them. And when you forgive them wholeheartedly. Me, I forgive you. I forgive you. I love you and I forgive you. That's just it. I forgive you. So you see, it's no ands, no buts. I forgive you. Now, that don't mean that I got to fool with you, though.
Exactly.
See, that's why a lot of people get it mixed up. They say, no, in the Bible it said forgive. And you forget. Is it hard to forget? Yeah, it's hard to forget. You're a human being. It's hard to forget because it pops up. Every time something happened, their name get brought up, you think about it. But then over the years in time, it really don't bother you no more because you, number one, you forgave yourself and you forgave them. So now you got to move on. See, the enemy it's like a hacker. He'll hack up all them bad thoughts and bring it back to your remembrance. See, it make you feel that emotion all over again, but you got to crush it, denounce it, and keep it moving. Oh, it's going to pop up, but keep it moving. Just like a bad relationship. It pops up. You can see one coming. Oh, no, I've been through that already. You see the telltale signs. You keep it moving. Say, no, I can't go through that one. I got to keep it moving. And you keep it moving, but you got to forgive. You got to forgive and love. Those are two powerful words. Forgive, it's an action word, and love. It's the action word. And you keep it moving. He cheated. Okay, I wish you well. I love you. And I pray for the next one. And that's how we do that.
Proverbs 10 and 12.
Mm-hmm.
Hatred stirs up conflict, but love covers all wrongs.
Mm-hmm. It covers a multitude of wrong. Love conquers everything. My mama, the word says that give them something to drink, give them something to eat that will heap coals upon their head. That means that they're going to think about why she or he is treating me so nice when I did them wrong. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, baby, come and get something to eat. What? Yeah. See, it'll heat that coal. Yeah. Now, come on in. Get something to eat. So now he or she are thinking, I messed up. Yeah, you messed up. You had a good thing. But now, baby, Kim, I want you to meet somebody. But see, that what it do, though, because now you messed up.
That's accepting responsibility.
Now you out the door.
Yeah.
Somebody else in the door.
And you can't get mad at that person
No.
or that spouse for moving on.
No.
Men, women, whichever way it go, you can't be mad at that person if you wasn't giving them what they need.
No.
And I'm a stickler for communication. And I tell people, especially when I meet people that's, I'm going to leave my husband. I tell people, look, make that a last resort. Do everything you can feasible to keep your relationship. And I'm not saying if that person is being like physically abusive and, if your life is in danger, that's different. Yeah. Mm. But a cheating spouse, don't get so angry that you just walk out initially. Do everything you can to salvage your marriage. And if it still doesn't work, then you have to make a choice. Okay, well, maybe I need to do something else. Don't just walk out because you're angry. Don't just yell out things because you're mad. Sit down and think about that.
Now, I got something I want to say to all you ladies, married ladies and married men. Stop telling your business to your friend.
Yeah.
Because your friend is looking at what you're saying is trash to you, but she sees something in that person. Because that one that's telling you, I wouldn't do that and I wouldn't put up with that, is going to be the same one that when you knock on that door or you knock on her door, he going to answer her door. So please beware of that one there, brothers. Okay? Your friend tell me, man, I wouldn't put up with her stuff, blah, 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 blah. That brother going to be answering your door. So stop telling your business what your man can do and what he can't do, or what your woman can do and what she can't do. That's another thing that we as men and we as women have to stop doing. Talking your business. My mama said, baby, what goes on in this house between me and your dad is me and your daddy business. It's nobody else's business. And that's what we have to live by that rule too now. Now, I didn't say keep secrets. I said whatever you and your spouse do in your bedroom, that's nobody's business. That's your business. Because when you spread your business, it becomes everybody's business, and then you wonder why everybody in your business.
That is true. I can't even say nothing about it because that's just true. And I had to learn the hard way. Because when I'm upset, before I learned to talk to Jesus and not to people,
oh yeah,
I learned the hard way. And it's true what he's saying. It's so
been
true.
there. I'm talking from experience. I thought you were my best friend.
Mm. And you went to see your
oh yeah,
your wife, and he opened the door.
Open the door.
Sound like a blues song. I opened the door.
Open the door.
And Tyrone was there.
Bumping and grinding.
What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. I said okay. Kaduba said okay. I learned from that.
How long were you friends with this person?
Ooh, we've been friends for like 5 or 6 years. Worked together and everything. Oh yeah. I learned from that one now.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
And how long was you with that person? Y'all was married?
Yeah, we were married. We were married for about 1, 2, 3, 4 years.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. That old song, every time that song come out, I think about I laughed on now. Used to cry. You see, I got a new way of wearing my hair. I got a smile on my face.
And you didn't,
you didn't put it
there.
there.
Oh, baby. Them blues take on a new meaning when you get a little bit older. You be like, oh, okay, that's what that means. You didn't put it there.
Put my key in the door. It didn't fit no more. So, okay. Yeah. So we just not talking about nothing. We talking about something that's dear to us, that we have been through it, me and Miss Nikki G, and that this is life principles, in biblical principles. You reap what you sow, that's number one. What you sowing out there, good or bad, you're gonna reap it. You're gonna reap it. I wasn't good all my life. I sowed some bad thing and it came back and I reaped what I sowed and I learned from it. So just be careful what you say or what you do, because you're gonna be held accountable for it. It's gonna come back on you.
Now we've talked about really all three of the causes that I chose. Needs not being met, causes of cheating, someone's needs not being met, lack of communication, no communication skills. And the last one was not truly understanding the institution of marriage from a biblical sense. Mm-hmm. You going in your marriage the world's way. Mm-hmm. And I like to say the worst way. Because at some point it's gonna fail, because it's no order to it. Now, if you take the steps of the biblical principles of how to love, mm-hmm. you take the steps of forgiveness, mm-hmm. I don't see how you could go wrong. Even when you run into those women, and I have, like I said before, oh, he cheated on you, go cheat on him. My thought is this, and I ain't gonna lie, when I was married, I thought about that too with my ex-husband. But I thought to myself, why would me, and it's just me, why would I sleep with somebody else to hurt him? Who am I really hurting? Mm-hmm. I'm hurting myself, lowering my dignity to mm-hmm. make him mad. Mm-hmm. To me, that's my thought process of that. Like, I never understood that. I'm not knocking nobody for how they, handle their situations. But for me, that's how I thought about that. Why would he care if I slept with somebody else? He already sleep with somebody else anyway. What I need to do is move my butt around somewhere else.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
It even say, I found a verse to address that. Romans 12:17. Repay no one evil for mm-hmm. evil, but give thought to do what is honorable in the sight of all.
Yes.
So as I rose up from my situation and I began, you know what? I'm going to take my focus off of him and that, whatever he got going on, and start it on me and God. I began to move differently. And I even had people would call me and say, well, Nikki, I don't understand how you stay so positive when you're going through what you're going through. That's because I took the focus off of the storm, because I knew I was coming out of the storm. And I needed to keep moving. It didn't make no sense for me to stay there and keep doing things because he's doing them to me. I mean, that's just like a vicious cycle.
And see, when you allow them things to happen, this will happen right here. I'm going to give you a prime example of emotional adultery for you cheating spouses. I'm put it like that. Spouses. Emotional adultery is when you say, we're just friends. There's the sexual tension between you and the other party. We just friends, but you kiki. Girl, he crazy. Emotional. You're emotionally attracted to someone. Then you have one called the energetic adultery. Inappropriate thoughts. Visual. About a person other than your partner. You fantasizing about someone else, other people, but not your partner. Then you have the mental adultery. Is to look with an intention and consciously desire to gratify lust, to picture a situation in the mind, to picture a situation in the mind, if I had them. And we hear it all the time. We hear it all the time. We see it all the time. You can be out eating, or you can be out at a movie, or you can be watching a television program or something, and not knowing, because I didn't know it, because I'd be like, ooh, man. But it's all in the mind. So what do our minds think? What is our thought process? Can we look at a person and just look on her beauty? Or just look at that she's a good person? Why do we have to go, like my mama say, all up under the clothes with the thoughts? But we do that. We do that, not knowing that we are committing adultery. And if we are Christian, like you said, we know experts, but if we are Christians, we know that that's something that we are not supposed to do. But we are human, and I'm not excusing it, and we do. It is for all of us to ponder and think that our lives, our thought process, have to get better. Because if not, we're going to continue to see the rate of divorce in the church, because the church, people in the church are getting divorced. During the pandemic, a lot of divorces had happened because of either spousal abuse or cheating.
And like I said, to me, these are the primary causes. There's no one cause, but these three things that I just read to you, I feel like, or we just discussed, are the primary causes. I feel like if you can get through these three things and accomplish this, whatever else coming into your marriage, you should be able to handle it. Because you got your biblical principles in place. God already gave you the Bible, which is the roadmap to handle any situation. You understand each other's communication skills, and both of your needs are being met. What else do you need? Everything else is minute. Your financial be in order because your husband is the leader of the home. The atmosphere of your home is good because he's following Christ. How you gonna go wrong? Now, am I saying y'all gonna be skipping around and that person ain't gonna cheat? No, y'all gonna have problems, but like I said, that Bible is your roadmap to handle those problems.
Communicate.
You don't want to handle it the world's way because, see, when you in a marriage and your spouse cheat, the world's way is, oh, girl, just cheat on him. He cheated on you. I can hook you up with my brother. That's the world's way. So when you handle it the world's way, the world gonna handle you. Trust me. You. And then when you get tired of that, guess what? Then you gotta wait. God gonna handle you too, because what you did.
We gotta face God on everything that we do. Don't ever think that you're gonna escape God. He said that he'll come to the just and the unjust.
There you go. You gonna face it.
So just because you go to church every day,
what's in your heart?
Pay your tithes, and run around the building 7 times, that ain't gonna save you.
I'm sorry.
God gonna get you. I don't care. He gonna get you. I'm telling you. Tell you something I know, not what I heard. I don't care. God is gonna get you. He will get you. Everybody is held accountable for what they do. You are held accountable. I'm held accountable.
Okay, so let's not say God gonna get you. Let's just say it's consequences to your actions. So which consequences do you want to face? And I tell you, for me, I don't want to face God consequences because I already know it's gonna be some stuff. It's gonna be some stuff.
He will pull the sheets off you. It's in the word. He will reveal you.
You don't have no choice but to get on your knees. By the time he get through, you're going to have to get on your knees. I know. I had to get on my knees.
He will expose
one time
you.
I tell people, I was around here acting a plumb fool. I had to get on my knees. God, deliver me from this foolishness. I can't do this no more. This is not of me. This is not of you.
Yep. Amen.
With that being said, we're gonna end this podcast because Calvin and I can sit here and talk all day long. We always talk over this hour that we're supposed to be talking. Now, if you find yourself in a place of infidelity or having a cheating spouse, you got to figure out, why is this person cheating? And the causes that I gave you were needs not being met, lack of communication, and not understanding the institution of marriage, or understanding it from a biblical sense. Those are possible causes. Now, once you figure out what the cause is, I would suggest that you and your spouse sit down, you talk about it, and then you two pray about it. Get your Bibles out, see what God says, and then you go from there. But that forgiveness have to come in. You have to forgive yourself, forgive that person, whether you stay with that person or not. Forgiveness is just part of the healing process, period. So stop going around saying, I ain't going to forgive him for what he did, or I ain't going to forgive her. Screw her. No. You, at some point, you're going to have to in order for you to move on. Mm-hmm. Forgiveness is not all about the other person. It's for you to move on.
Exactly. Take ownership. Take ownership of your mistakes. Take ownership of your wrongdoing. Take ownership. Quit saying she, or he did this. Take ownership. I didn't do this. I could have did this better. I should have paid more attention. I should have did this. Quit saying they didn't do this. She didn't do this. Her mama was no, mama ain't married to you. That's between you and your wife or you and your husband. You didn't marry the mother, the father, the sister, the brother. You married her or you married him. Mm-hmm. And that's what God looks at. Your relationship, not the family relationship.
One last thing I would say. When you find yourself in that situation, or if you find yourself in that situation, be honest with yourself. Both spouses, you have to be honest with yourselves. Then you come together and be honest with each other. I don't care how you think that person's going to be hurt by it. It's going to be even more hurt if you suppress it and they don't know, and then y'all continue on down that path. It's going to continue to come up. So just be honest with yourself and with your spouse together. So with that being said, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I'm on all the podcast arenas, Apple, Google, Spotify. You can find me on YouTube at Confessions with Nikki G. Thanks for listening to my guest and I today, and I hope you have a great week.